Hello, all of you gamers, professional and casual out there in the world. I am MegaAmpster, and we are so close to the official launch of Sonic Frontiers. It is currently November 7th, 2022. Tomorrow is the release day. You know I'm going to be streaming it. You know it's going to be hype. If you're new here, great to see you. If you're interested in the Sonic Frontiers streams, hit that subscribe if you're interested. Be doing that. If not, hey, no worries. Good to have you here. If you're a returning viewer, hey, good to see you. Hope you're doing well. Anyways, I wanted to make this quick video because the Sonic Frontiers review scores, it is the day beforehand. Didn't seem like a lot of people were able to review it beforehand. I don't know if the embargo just lifted today or what, or if they didn't get review copies until today, but it didn't seem like there was much of time for that. But the review scores did come out today from a lot of outlets for reviewing this game. And we can see here the MetaCritic score. Just a little heads up, don't take MetaCritic as like the solid truth. Like literally form your own opinion, listen to people that you trust with these opinions, and we're going to go into this in a little bit. This is going to be more of a general critique about the whole reviewing, the review score system as we go. We can see here though MetaCritic, we have, I think it looks like it's only just the PS5 version that has been reviewed, sitting at a 73 at the moment. I don't know why, maybe they didn't send out review copies for Switch or Xbox, which seems weird. I don't know. It's just PS5, which is interesting here. But we can see mixed or average reviews based on, okay, we're at 50 critic reviews at the moment, which is a good amount. Currently sitting at a 73. Now, this might not seem, in this day and age, like anything I feel like below an 80 is seen as not good. And that's just so far from the truth. At least it should be, based on the numbering. This should be a pretty solid. I mean, if you think about it, that's 3/4 of the way to a perfect score of 100. Like, if you keep that in mind, it makes sense. But to be honest, this is the best, so far, this is the best a 3D Sonic game has reviewed since, I think, Generations. We could take a look down at this, some of the specific ones. Attack of the Fanboy, I imagine these are smaller independent ones. The main one that is really holding this one down a lot is Digital Trends. And we can see here, I don't know if you can see this, don't take this review seriously by the way, absolute trash review, but we can see here, while not outright broken like Sonic 06 or Sonic Boom, any review that starts with Sonic 06 or Sonic Boom is bound to be that. Like, the fact that they just keep doing that, it's just like, it's really, I don't know, it's really weird. It's like, I don't understand it. Like, I've seen some of the quotes from this review specifically, but it is just very much an outlier. A lot of people seem to be like 70s. I've seen a lot of 7 out of 10, some 8 out of 10s, which is great. Attack of the Fanboy might be a little bit higher. So, in my perspective, at the end of the day, I mean, just obviously go based on your own opinion. But for Sonic, 3D Sonic, this is actually a really good score. Now, I should have opened this ahead of time, but let's look at example. Let's look at some other games. We have, of course, the big one being Sonic Forces. I'm sorry, I really like the soundtrack, so playing that in the background. Sonic Forces, 57, the highest one being the PS4 here. Not, or actually, let me see. Okay, no, Xbox One, 62, not bad. Why is the Xbox One version specifically a little higher? I don't know. Why is the Switch version on par with PS4? That's bizarre. And PC's even worse. What? I thought the PC version was fine. That's the version I played. I don't know. But, clearly, you can see here that not great. Like, low 50s to high 60s. That is like, I don't know if I'd call it mediocre. Is that more like 50? I don't know. But it's like, I feel like that's kind of, this day and age, it's seen as bad. It's like, it has redeemable moments, and like, I think this score is fairly, I think it's fair. It's pretty indicative. Now, let's look at, like, for example, Sonic Lost World. I looked at all these ahead of time, by the way. Sonic Lost World, we get here. Kind of the same thing, honestly. I would put Lost World a little higher. I would put it above Forces, because Forces was, like, had a lot of potential, didn't really deliver on that potential. It was a more broken game than Lost World. And I'm not a massive fan of Lost World, but I still think it is a little better. I would put Lost World more like high 60s. That's just my opinion personally. But you can see it's still right around that same ballpark. We look at Sonic Generations, and that was scored very well. You know, we have 77, really good. To be honest though, Frontiers, not that much higher, not that much farther off from this. Highest is 77, Frontiers currently at 73, so these are, in terms of a critic, now obviously this is all dependent on the reviewer, and all dependent on, there's so many factors that go into this, but based on a general critic view, Generations might be a tiny bit above Frontiers. But if anything, I feel like that's a really good sign for the Sonic fans. Generations is an amazing game, and Frontiers is shaping up to be a good one too. Just for shits and giggles, let's look at Team Sonic Racing. I know it's a racing game, so it doesn't really count, but we look at that, and yeah, I mean, that was low 70s, so I guess around the same as Frontiers is now, but also this is a racing game, so it's not really a fair comparison there, but that was a decent racing game. But in terms of main, like, core 3D Sonic, like, this is the best it's been since Generations, which is really great because 3D Sonic needed this. Of course, we had Sonic Mania come out a few years back. I can't believe it's, what, like 5 years old already? Absolutely ridiculous. And we see here, like, this is, of course, Sonic Mania, 91. Yeah, it is a must play. Like, it's such a good game. So I'm happy to see that the Switch version is the highest. I considered buying physical on Switch because I have the Steam version, but this is such a good game. And like, we're not counting this because obviously it's 2D and it was made by fans, you know, so this was a absolutely phenomenal game. Don't know why there's no sequel yet, but hopefully there's a 2D one in the works in this style. That would be great. But Sonic Frontiers, it's looking really good. Like, since Generations, this is the best a 3D Sonic game has scored, and I think that means we're on the right path. It is a solid 15 points higher than what Forces was at, so that's great. But just to clarify, at the end of the day, like I said, these review scores, there's so many things that factor into this. You're thinking about all the different sites that are being factored into this. I imagine the smaller, like, I don't know how big some of these smaller review teams are, but I imagine they're weighted the same as like the big ones like IGN and Game Informer and all of those. And it's like, there's so much that goes into it, you really can't trust these scores too much. However, I think you can use these scores. I think where these scores can become useful is for seeing if a game is like really amazing or if a game is not good. Like, for example, we look at a game that's really amazing. Look at this God of War Ragnarok. I'm not interested in God of War personally, but like, clearly this is going to be a phenomenal game for people who want to get into it. 94, not a lot of games get that high of a score, so that is clearly a sign of a really good game. I think Elden Ring is also at like 95, 96 or something like that, so also seen as a very good game critically. In this case, yes, like, this is a very good game, just kind of objectively based on this, you know what I mean? I also opened Gotham Knights just for shits and giggles. You can see here, not doing so hot. Actually, this is below Frontiers, just slightly. I know this game got a lot of flack. I have yet to play it. At the end of the day, you got to form your own opinion. You really can't go too much based off these MetaCritic reviews. What you can do, and what I would recommend, is, you know, look at individual reviewers that you trust, and, you know, if they're more well-versed with the series of games, with the type of game that is being reviewed, then maybe that's a more trustworthy opinion. The other side of the coin is you have someone who reviews a game that isn't familiar with it. Well, then you can see if it's like a good, you know, beginner-friendly game, or if it's a good game to jump into that someone's brand new with. With Sonic Frontiers, it's tough. It's always tough with Sonic. You know, I mean, like, obviously this is higher than all the 3D Sonic games since Generations, and that's a really good sign. But because it is still clearly mixed. I mean, that one Digital Foundry, not Digital Foundry, whatever, Digital Trends, that's what it was. That one Digital Trends review is probably dragging us down even more. I was kind of hoping we would get up over 80 in this one. Unfortunately, it doesn't seem like that's the case. But that's honestly okay. We're still doing way better than all the 3D games since Generations. So that's a really, really good sign. But with this one, it's tough to say. I would say for a game like this, don't go based off of the review score, because it's really, I love the song. It's such a subjective thing at this point, where you got to play the game for yourself and experience it, or, you know, find a Sonic fan. I mean, hell, fucking Games Cage had a preview session. Of course, he's fucking hyped about the game because he's a massive Sonic fan. You know, whereas you look at someone like, for example, Arlo uploaded a review that wasn't so hot on the game. So for him, as I don't think he's a major Sonic fan, you know, for him it wasn't as fun of a game. You know what I mean? So to me, this seems like a game that's for the fans specifically. I think if you're a Sonic fan, if you're a 3D Sonic fan, especially of like the 2000s era, like Sonic Unleashed, even Sonic 06 a little bit, adventure games even maybe, I think you'll like this game. I think you will genuinely enjoy this game. I already know I'm going to enjoy this game to some degree. We'll see how much on the streams, but I think you really have to play it yourself, base your own opinion around it, because you really can't go off of a review score like this. You know what I mean? This is an amalgamation of all of the different review scores, and all the different reviews are dependent on the reviewer. They're dependent on whether they're knowledgeable about the game or not. So It all depends on that. I would, if I were you, I would look at individual reviews. That's what I've been doing today, because a bunch of them went up. And gain some opinions based on that. And that goes for most games. Unless, like I said, like if it's one of the extremes, like we got God of War, it's at a 94, like, yeah, that's a good game. Like, you can tell this is a good game. Same thing with Elden Ring. But Gotham Knights is another mixed one that you really got to play for yourself. Now, if we look up for major shits and giggles, let's look up Balan Wonderworld. Sorry, not sorry, Yuji Naka. Let's look at this by score. The highest this got was, a 51 on the PS5. Okay. But, like, you look at these, and you can tell something's up. You know what I mean? You look at review scores like this. The Switch version at 36. This one's still, the Xbox One is still TBD. I love it. They didn't even bother categorizing that one. But, like, you can tell that this is just... something's up with this game, you know what I mean? So I feel like if it's on one of the extremes, then you're fine going based off of Metacritic. I mean, still, like, I'm sure there are people who love this game, and there are probably people who aren't gonna like God of War. So that's why I hesitate to even say rely on these for the extremes either, because at the end of the day, it comes down to your own opinion and what you think of the game. And that's kind of a thing. Unfortunately, I feel like there are probably a lot of people who just rely, might be a vocal minority, but just a lot of people who rely on review scores specifically, especially like Metacritic review scores for games, whether they buy it or not. But at the end of the day, a lot of it is just how you feel, because you can feel completely different about a game. For example, I hate Sonic Battle, and apparently every other Sonic fan loves that game, but I do not like it at all. It's clunky as shit. I'm sorry, there's my hot take for the day. You know what I mean? Like, everybody has their own opinion and playstyle. What's a game? I'm trying to think of a game that I really liked that other people didn't. I mean, to be honest, I am more positive on Forces than most people. Like, I think it's okay. It's not garbage, I don't think, but... I don't know, it's, you know what I mean? It's like, it's all about, at the end of the day, it's about your own opinion, you know? And so, play the game yourself, even if you're remotely interested. I would say, look at reviews and review scores like this to make sure if a game is, like, genuinely bad or really good. And then, based on that, you know, you can decide to buy the game, and then you play the game and make your own informed decision. I think a lot of people this day and age, especially with social media and everything spreading so fast, tend to jump the gun on that and just, write a game off or they'll buy a game immediately and then regret spending their money. You know what I mean? So, and obviously it also depends on if you're, I don't know, I don't think Sonic Frontiers is on Game Pass. Could be, I don't know. But like, it also depends on if the game's on Game Pass, if there's an easier way to get it rather than pay full price for it, physical versus digital. There's a bunch of stuff that goes into it. But that's kind of my little rant for the day. I know this video is specifically about Sonic Frontiers review score. To wrap that up and kind of go back full circle to that, it's looking pretty decent. Like, this isn't obviously, this isn't, as much as I wish this could have been in the Game of the Year discussion, I don't think it will be. Not just because it's Sonic, but because, I mean, the review score is, you know, mid-70. I mean, that's still really good for 3D Sonic. When we're comparing to other 3D Sonic games, this is a big step in the right direction, and I think Sonic Team has something here with the new open zone gameplay from what we can tell and like the reviews that I've watched. And that's a great sign for the future for 3D Sonic and Sonic in general. But it's still critically, obviously, not fully up there. So, will it be in the Game of the Year discussion? Probably not. I hope it gets nominated for some kind of award. If there's like a best, like, new refresh thing award or something like that at the Game Awards, that would be great. I would love to see that. The song's not that good, so I'm gonna skip it. There we go. We got to get only the custom avatar stages here, but I would love for it to get some kind of nomination for Game Awards. We'll see. I mean, at the end of the day, that doesn't matter either. That's all just a bunch of random critics just reviewing scores. What matters is what you think of a game. You know what I mean? And I think, I don't want to generalize, but I think a lot of 3D Sonic fans will really like this game. That seems to be the case, and I cannot wait to be streaming this. So just to wrap this video up, thank you so much for watching. I will be live streaming this starting as of tomorrow, which is the launch day, Tuesday, November 8th. I'm actually going to be doing took work off for that day, so I'm going to be doing a little extra long stream. I'm going to break it up into 2 parts for tomorrow, so I'll start the first part around 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, take a break around 6:30 so I can eat dinner, and then start up the second part around 7, the usual time. And yeah, we'll play quite a bit of Sonic Frontiers tomorrow, and I'll be going forward with that in the future. Kind of switching off with Bayonetta 3 until I wrap that up. I'll also be streaming the Splatfest for Splatoon 3 with the Pokemon starter types if you're interested in that this weekend. I think probably on Saturday. I'll have a text post for that on YouTube or Twitter if you're trying to keep up to date with that. But that is going to do for this video. Let me know below if you're excited. We're so close. Sonic fans, we're right there. We're so close. We're so close to the goal. and it feels good to be hyped for a new 3D Sonic game like this. I was hyped for Forces and was let down, but I think this is it. I think this is the step in the right direction. So hey, if you're interested, join me for those streams. Otherwise, hey, no worries. I hope you enjoy the game if you're interested. If not, let me know why in the comments below. But otherwise, hey, I will see you all on the next video or live stream. Take care, go fast. Sonic Frontiers is here. Let's go.